She's mid-set, third rep of 5, form clean, weight moving the way it's supposed to. Her boyfriend, standing 6 feet away, scrolling his phone until this exact moment, suddenly looks up and says, "Your hips are shooting up too early." She didn't ask. She's been lifting longer than he's been coming to this gym. Here's the label we're decoding today. Unsolicited correction. Not feedback she requested. Not coaching from someone with more experience. A correction that shows up exactly when she looks capable and disappears the second she doesn't. The reframe. That comment was never about her hips. It was a bid to stay relevant in the one place he was quietly losing ground. So ask yourself something uncomfortable. Why does he only notice your form when you're succeeding and never when you're struggling? That's the mechanism we're breaking down. The specific psychological reflex that turns a man into an uninvited coach. The second a woman's competence threatens to outpace his. No fluff. Just what's actually true.
Welcome to Iron Femme, a channel that helps women build strength that shows up everywhere. In the gym, in your career, in your voice, in your life. No shrinking, no apologizing, no training light. We lift heavy, we stand tall, we take up space. Physique, mindset, presence, all of it. If you want to be stronger in every room you walk into, you are in the right place.
Watch for the timing, because it's never random. She hits a new PR, and within the same session, someone nearby has just one note. She finally nails a movement she'd been chasing for months, and that's the exact moment a boyfriend, a training partner, a random guy racking weights nearby decides her elbow position needs adjusting. It doesn't happen when she's struggling. Nobody rushes in to help when she's failing a lift. That would require actual coaching, actual patience, actual investment. The correction shows up specifically when she's winning, packaged as concern, timed like a reflex. Pattern point 1, 130. Here's the tell. The correction is never paired with a question. Real coaching asks, how did that feel? This isn't that. It's a statement delivered with authority he hasn't earned in this specific room on this specific day. Psychologists call this competence threat, and it's blunt about what it does. When a man's sense of relevance is quietly tied to being the more capable one in a shared space, a woman's visible skill doesn't register as neutral. It registers as a demotion he didn't apply for. The uncomfortable part is how automatic it is. Research on relationship dynamics has found men are more likely to offer unsolicited advice, specifically in domains where their own status is uncertain, not the ones where they're confident. Confidence doesn't need to correct anyone. Insecurity does, constantly disguised as helpfulness. So the correction isn't information, it's a status repair kit. If he can find one flaw in her form, he gets to be the expert again, even for 10 seconds, even about something she didn't ask him to touch. 3 versions of this repeat constantly. Scenario 1, the boyfriend at the gym. She's deadlifting. He's on his phone between sets of his own, noticeably lighter weight. The second she racks a new max, he says, "Watch your back rounding." Observation, her lift was clean. Study, his own numbers just got outpaced in the same room. Signal, the correction arrived exactly when the comparison became unavoidable. Scenario 2, the online comment. She posts a training clip. A stranger who's never coached anyone writes 3 paragraphs about her squat depth. Observation, unsolicited technical breakdown from someone with no relationship to her training. Study, anonymity removes the social cost of asserting expertise he doesn't have. Signal, the length of the comment is the tell, real concern is a sentence. Ego is 3 paragraphs. Scenario 3, the helpful training partner. He's supposed to be spotting her. Instead, he's narrating her form the entire set, unprompted, voice getting louder each rep. Observation, she asked for a spot, not commentary. Study, standing silently while she lifts heavier than expected felt worse to him than talking over her. Signal, he filled the silence with authority because the silence itself was the problem. 3 scenes, same skeleton. The correction shows up exactly when silence would have meant admitting she didn't need him. So what do you do the next time it happens? Mid-set, no warning? You separate solicited from unsolicited before you even process the content of what he said. Did you ask? If not, The comment isn't data about your form, it's data about his timing. Try this test. Liv, would he say the same thing if you just missed the lift instead of hitting it? If the answer is no, if the correction only shows up when you succeed, you already have your answer. That's not coaching. That's a man managing his own discomfort out loud, using your body as the subject line. A woman in this audience, call her Dana, 38, used to stop mid-set every time her boyfriend offered a correction, readjust, lose her rhythm, sometimes lose the rep entirely. She thought she was being coachable. Then she started timing it. Every single note he gave arrived within 30 seconds of her hitting a number he hadn't hit himself. Not once did it happen on a bad set. Not once did it happen when she was struggling and could have actually used the help. Once she saw the pattern, she stopped stopping. She'd hear the comment, finish the set exactly as planned, and address it after on her terms, if at all. The corrections didn't stop entirely, but they stopped controlling her sets. Maybe he's actually trying to help. Maybe I'm too defensive to take feedback. Take that seriously, because sometimes it's true. A coach, a trainer, someone with actual expertise and an invitation to give feedback, that's real, and dismissing all correction as ego is its own kind of dishonesty. Here's the mechanical test that separates the two. Real feedback is consistent regardless of outcome. A real coach corrects the miss and the make. Status-driven correction is outcome-dependent. It only shows up when she succeeds, because success is the only moment that threatens him. Real feedback is also invited, or at minimum, welcomed without defensiveness when questioned. Status-driven correction gets prickly the second she asks, "Did you ask me if I wanted notes?" If the coaching evaporates the moment you ask whether it was requested, it was never coaching. It was a bid for relevance wearing a lifting belt. Here's the reframe, plainly. The correction that shows up uninvited exactly when you're succeeding was never about your form. It's a man managing the discomfort of watching you outpace him and handing you the discomfort back disguised as help. That's not a rant. That's the mechanism, named clearly enough that it stops working on you mid-set. If this is your first video with us, this channel breaks down the psychology behind strength, identity, and relationships every week. Subscribe if that's useful to you. Next week, why your male friends go quiet the moment you start winning, and it's not the guys you're dating.